This month's theme, Love Jones. The first significant American film was a 12-minute production titled The Great Train Robbery, created by Edwin S. Porter in 1903. In 1915, a racist created a 3-hour-long film called The Birth of a Nation. The film portrayed black men, most played by white men in blackface, as sex-starved rapists, and black people as bumbling idiots who would destroy post-Civil War America if not for the heroic actions of the Ku Klux Klan. The film justified prejudice and racism and is widely credited for the Klan's resurgence and subsequently for many lynchings of black men in the decades to follow. Also during those decades was the rise of the film industry and the golden age of Hollywood. Some of the great American classics were produced during that time. This young but powerful art form had taken the world by storm, and moviegoers around the globe were getting a look at American stories filled with American dreams and aspirations. And what the world saw was that America was white. All white, except for the occasional Negro who would show up silently but smiling, all too happy to serve as the American's maid or butler, or perhaps a jazz musician whose life didn't exist beyond his entertaining a white audience. More than 60 years of films were produced without a single black filmmaker being supported by Hollywood production companies. Then, Hollywood needed us. In the late 1960s, large production companies were on the verge of bankruptcy, and they knew they needed to appeal to a wide, not just white audience. Enter Shaft. Shaft? You're damn right. Shaft was directed by famed black photographer Gordon Parks. The film's budget was only $500,000, but it earned $13 million at the box office, making it one of the highest returns on investment in the history of the industry. And so began the era of blaxploitation, where black people were often portrayed on the screen as pimps and prostitutes, and gratuitous sex and violence were the main ingredients in what was being served to a black audience starving to see itself on the big screen. The films, often written and directed by white filmmakers, were made on a small budget and brought big returns. So the studios followed the formula for the better part of a decade as Hollywood built more theaters in the suburbs that many white Americans had fled to. Then, when the films weren't needed anymore, they disappeared, and with them, the black faces on the screen. One of the biggest stars of the 1980s was Eddie Murphy. Murphy was charismatic and hella funny. The films in which he starred often didn't have another black character of note, but his power to draw an audience was proven. Eddie Murphy's films did so well that he was able to secure the budget to make his own films, and he did, including classic comedies like Coming to America, Boomerang, and Harlem Nights. Still, 70 years after Birth of a Nation, 70 years filled with the portrayals of black people as violent, criminal, unintelligent predators, we had yet to see a film in the theaters that portrayed black life in a serious and honest way. All of these images, through this influential medium, had been fed into the minds of audiences for decades, and no alternatives were offered. It's not a wonder that we are where we are now. Finally, a young film student named Spike Lee came on the scene with a series of films that changed the industry. The first was an independent film, She's Gotta Have It, that showed a sexually liberated black woman dealing with her relationship with 3 different men vying for her time. Lee's next film was School Days, a classic in the black community, showing life on the campus of HBCU, dealing with themes of colorism within the community. Then he made Do the Right Thing. This important and enthralling film showed life in a Brooklyn neighborhood and took on topics such as racism and police brutality. The film enjoyed great critical and commercial success, and it sent Hollywood looking for the next black filmmaker who could do the same. Among the filmmakers chosen was John Singleton, who wrote and directed the film Boys in the Hood, which boasted a cast of Lawrence Fishburne, Angela Bassett, popular rapper Ice Cube, and a young Cuba Gooding Jr. in the lead role. It also introduced us to an engaging actress, Nia Long, who played Gooding's love interest. Boys grossed nearly $60 million from a budget of just $6 million. It was a good film and an important film, But it also gave Hollywood producers another easy and dangerous formula to follow. For the next 5 years, the only black films being made outside of Spike Lee's company and Eddie Murphy's comedies were violent gangster films, where black characters were criminals in every plot and black bodies were shot, beaten, and dying in every climax. One of the most popular of those films was Dead Presidents, starring a young, charming actor named Lorenz Tate. And so the stage was set for Love Jones. By 1997, black audiences were truly jonesing for this movie. We needed to see Lorenz Tate and Nia Long kissing without fear of them killing or being killed. We needed to fall in love with them, and fall in love we did. Black people needed to see black bodies making love and dance stepping in Chicago, not shot up and bleeding on the streets in a movie or being beaten and arrested on the news. We needed to hear Lauryn Hill, Deion Ferris, and Maxwell sing a soundtrack to some real black romance, some honest black friendship, some genuine black love. Love Jones was not a big hit at first. It made more than its budget back in the theater, but it did not do as well as the filmmakers hoped. And Lorenz Tate, for one, believed that it was due to a lack of marketing. He said in an interview, "We were at a time with movies like Boys in the Hood, Men's to Society, Set It Off, right? They know how to market those films. I'm going to keep it real. I felt like the studio did not know how to market Love Jones." What Tate said rings true because the studio had to re-release the movie after demand by black audiences forced their hand. See, many didn't know about the film until its amazing soundtrack became one of the top-selling albums that year, and they wanted to see this film that they didn't even know existed. Today, I don't think you can find many black people of a certain age who don't know Love Jones and who haven't been touched deeply by it for one reason or another. I certainly have. That year, 1997, was a year of love and poetry for me. So Love Jones, for the first time ever, was a movie that showed my life. I finished college that year, and I married my longtime sweetheart. And I was a spoken word poet. I had been performing poetry on stage for years with the Haraka Writers at Purdue University, which allowed me to meet some legendary black poets and spoken word artists like Amiri Baraka, Sonia Sanchez, Nikki Giovanni, and the big sister of our writing group, Gwendolyn Brooks. It's because of my time performing spoken word that I'm standing in front of you today. And so I'd like to share a piece with you, if you'd allow. I wrote this piece after seeing Love Jones. That was many years ago, so I'm out of practice performing spoken word poetry. In 1997, I was moving away from spoken word to long fiction. I started a novel and I wrote my first screenplay that year. But I also started writing this piece. The title, Love Jones. I got a Love Jones, baby, and I just can't shake it. I say, I got a Love Jones, baby, and I can't let it go. Oh no, I ain't talking about you, but wait, take two. I can see by your lips so tight, that ain't come out quite right. See, I need your love, but it ain't a Jones. I have your love, and your love is home. Your love is life. Your love is light. Your love lays me to bed at night. Your love lifts me up when it's hard to rise. Your love is the motivation to open my eyes. Your love is light. Then the day begins. And I have that Jones again. See, I'm jonesing not to pause before I open the front door. I'm fiending to look forward to my day. To meet another sight without causing fight or flight. To receive a good morning from the clerk at the store, like the customer before me, you see. Baby, I'm jonesing for the love of my fellow man. Is that weak? Should I have kept quiet and not say that I seek a warm smile, a connection, a feeling, a new show where I'm not victim or villain, a look from an officer where I'm not a suspect, but one they're meant to protect, or at least respect. As a man who has to deal with this shit too, Do I not say, and just remain this way, darting eyes, scowl on my face, dare not curl the edge of my lips till I'm back at the place? I mean, everybody knows ain't nothing worse than jonesing for a love you can't have. So like Teddy Pendergrass, I think I better let it go. I can't take another TKO. So I will straighten up those lips, put my headphones on, keep my gaze to myself, and make like I don't care.